Keep on rolling.
Oh, yeah.
Keep on rolling. Ooh.
I get it.
Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Ooh. One more time, let's get it. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Ooh. So if you're tired of the same old story, baby, turn some pages. Now I'll be here when you are ready. Roll with the changes. Oh, you know you've got to keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Ooh, roll with the changes. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Ooh, roll with the changes. You want to play, Danny?
Mansell trying to put it into it. Johnny Football with a night to remember. Touchdown, Texas A&M. Four-man Alabama rush. Got him. No, they didn't. Oh, my gracious. Yep. How about that? Stop a playmaker like Mansell. You got to get him. And this time, Alabama, look at almost a fumble of the ball. That's what kind of threw everybody off on the play. He almost loses it, recatches it, and keeps his wits about him.
Hey everybody, how are you doing today? I am doing wonderful, and I appreciate you asking. This is Scotty P.
Scotty P, you know what I'm saying? Again, I do know what you're saying, but I appreciate you continuing to check in with me on that.
And I appreciate you clicking in to spend some time with us here today. Hey, if you are one of our normal viewers, we appreciate you. I'm going to ask you to grab a drink and take a seat in the back row, because while this video certainly is for you, we hopefully have some very special guests with us here today, and it'll become a little bit clearer to you here as this video goes along. If you are one of the young ladies that I handed a card to today and you followed the breadcrumbs to find out exactly what I was talking to you about on campus, at the game, or wherever I ran into you, we certainly appreciate you being here today to find out exactly what it was that was going to be asked of you when I handed you that card a little bit earlier today. So let's get started and let me see if I can't clear some of the mystery. All right. A couple of weeks ago, I entered the world of pre-tirement. Actually, it's not a retirement unless I happen to hit the lottery. This is not a long-term thing, but there were some things that I wanted to do before I started looking for what career or job I was going to do next. This is not a bucket list, as I'm not sick or dying. I mean, other than the fact that we're all a little closer to the day we die than we were yesterday. But I do know the family medical history, and I know, unless I get hit by a bus, I know approximately how much time I got left, and there were some things that I wanted to do, not the Eiffel Tower and in those bucket list things, but there were some things that I wanted to do that I just haven't had the opportunity to do, being a single father, whether it be time or money or energy, that I wanted to knock off my list while I have the health, the ability, my own hips and my own knees, and able to do these things at this particular point in my life. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to borrow these couple of months to a year off of the back end, and I'm going to do it now because, well, hey, tomorrow ain't promised to anybody, right? And yo fucking low, right? YOLO. Before we get too far into this, I wanted to do a shout out to the mom, family, and friends of my new homemate, my new friend. Just to let you know a couple of things. Number one, you've raised an incredible young lady, and I'm honored to have her as a friend. And I know that when our kids leave home, as my daughter just left town to go to college today, as a matter of fact, I know it can be a little unnerving, and when you go, wait a minute, how old is this guy she's moving in with? It ain't that kind of move in, and I think that you know that. I just want you to know a couple things. Number one, I'm going to look after her as if she were my own. She's a couple years older than my baby girl, and I know that there's nothing more precious in life to you than your kid. The other thing is, also wanted to let you know, since you have done all of the heavy lifting, that when we're out and about checking some things off of our list, if I do get an over-market offer for her, I will split the proceeds as we sell her into whatever. I think it's only the right thing to do. Obviously, I'm just kidding. Ain't nothing going to happen to your little girl as long as I have anything to say about it. All right? Just to ease your mind there, okay? I don't know how much mind easing we did there, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, so what is the mission? What are we doing here? Well, there's a couple of things that I want to do, and a lot of it centers around some sporting events. There are some football games that I'm going to go to in some certain locations. In Waco, here in Austin, mainly in College Station, but even down in Houston, and a very special event in the beginning of October out in Destin, Florida, that's not sports related. Now, why does Texas A&M take a more prominent spot on my list of things to do, as I'm going to several games this year down there? If not the game, at least the tailgating and the yell practice the night before. Well, my daddy was class of 59, and for you young ladies on the campus there at Texas A&M, as I look through my daddy's yearbook, some of the names that are in there are Jack Pardee, John David Crow, Gene Stallings. And my first football game that I ever went to was in the 1970 season. I got it right here. It was against Wichita State. And from that very first game that I ever went to there at Kyle Field, I fell in love with Texas Aggie football. Now, there is a reason that I'm showing you this clipping from a Wichita newspaper and looking at their football season. And I didn't even know this until I went to go find out what the score was of the game that I went to. It seems that less than a month after that game, there was a plane crash, and 31 people that were associated with the Wichita State football program died in that plane crash. And I was looking at this story, and I said, that seems like that's about the time when that We Are Marshall plane crash was. And I was right. Actually, 2 weeks after this was the We Are Marshall plane crash. Sad moment in time, but I thought interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. What is the mission? I did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about the upcoming mission and left it shrouded in mystery for a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do yet. And I got a board of dreams out there that I needed to work through some dates and everything, but I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to, number one, introduce a lot of the viewers that are over in Europe or in Asia that are not familiar with Texas. Going to introduce you guys, plus Sky, and to some of those less fortunate here in the United States that haven't had the opportunity to live or to visit Texas, to explain to you exactly, best we can, what Texas is all about and experience so that you can feel it. We're going to be going around to these universities. We're going to be talking to some young ladies. Yes, young ladies, not young men, about traditions at those schools, game day traditions. Ask you a couple of questions, about the whole Venus and Mars things and about life in general. Talk to you and find out your knowledge level of cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin. That'll probably be the shortest part of our time together. And we're also going to play some fun games of chance for fabulous prizes and have a whole lot of fun there as well. And I'll tell you more about that a little bit later. Now, there's an expression at Texas A&M that says those on the outside looking in don't understand it, and those on the inside looking out can't explain it. And living in Texas is very much the same way. For those of you thinking, oh, those people from Texas, they think they're so much better than everybody else. And that's not the case. I mean, I mean, it's not that we think we're better than everybody else. It's an actual fact that we know. And that's okay, because we are very receptive and compassionate to those less fortunate who don't have the privilege and the honor to either live here in Texas or to have visited it at one time or another. And some of that comes from our history. I mean, even if you look back, Davy Crockett, when he left Tennessee and he was losing his bid for re-election back to Congress, told everybody, y'all can all go to hell. As for me, I'm going to Texas. And I think that a lot of the attitude and the swagger that you see, hear, or feel from people in Texas has a lot to do with our history. Hell, even our littering program has some attitude.
Each year, we spend over $20 million picking up trash along our Texas highways. Messing with Texas isn't just an insult to the Lone Star State. It's a crime.
Don't mess with Texas.
But a lot of what is ingrained in Texas does come from our past. One of the things that we're also going to be doing is looking into the history. And it is my honor and my privilege to be able to share that with Sky and again with some of our friends that are over in Europe and Asia that haven't seen or been here before. Now, not all of the history that we're going to go over and see and touch and feel is good, but it's our history. Good, bad, or otherwise, it's our history. And what's that old saying about those that don't remember history? They doomed to repeat it, right? For those that don't know, some of that swagger and attitude comes from our forefathers. The history of Texas is very parallel and similar to the history of the United States in general. In Gonzales, the first confrontation with the Mexican army, they surrounded the city of Gonzales, and the Mexican army demanded that we give back this cannon that the Mexican government had given them to protect themselves. The Texians responded with a single shot and flying the flag, come and take it.
Bitch!
And the Texians actually won that first encounter with the Mexican army. I'm guessing that a lot of you, if not all of you, know the history of the Alamo, where 200 Texians held off an army 10 times their size for 13 days before finally being defeated and massacred. We're going to check that out when we're doing San Antonio. There's a lot of legend, there's a lot of myth, and there's actual history. We're going to try to carve through a lot of the myth and the legend and get down to the actual history. There's the Goliad massacre, where the Mexican army surrounded the Texian forces, and 450 men, every single soldier, was marched out into a field and executed. We're going to touch on that too. Now, I will tell you one thing about the Alamo is when you visit it at night, you can almost hear and feel the history. You can almost sense the presence of Davy Crockett, Jim Bowie, who invented the Bowie knife, General William Travis. You can almost feel them there with you at night. It is a magical place. And here in Texas, it is a source of pride. Not too long after the Goliad massacre and the failed defense of the Alamo, the Battle of San Jacinto took place, where Texians, with a force half the size of the Mexican army, attacked and routed the Mexican army. Of course, it didn't hurt that we also did it while they were taking their siesta, but hey, they shouldn't have taken a siesta, right?
Bitch!
We're going to visit, feel, and experience a lot of the natural wonders and beautiful places here in the state as well. We're actually going to visit this place right here also, a place where I learned to swim when I was 2 years old, right downstream. Actually, I've already gotten to share one of the natural things with Sky since she's been here. Every night about sunset, anywhere between 1.5 and 2 million Mexican free-tailed bats come out of their hiding space underneath the Congress Street Bridge to go out into the night and go eat mosquitoes. We got to do that just a couple days ago. Experiment with that zoom a little bit more. Well, there they all are. Check them out. On the super zoom, check out the screen, man.
Wow.
Looks like a Stephen King movie here on my screen, man.
Background sirens help.
We have a bat emergency.
Bat crisis, bat crisis.
Bat emergency. So there's a whole lot of things we're going to do, and some of them may not even be written down yet. So for those of you not from Texas or understand what we're talking about, let's start at page 1 here. This is Texas. In Texas, football is king. Now, all you guys over in Europe and Australia and Asia and everything, let's go ahead and say it to your computer screen now. That's not football. Soccer's football. Got it. All right? So we don't need to hear that from you today. Appreciate it, love it, but you're wrong. And that's okay. That's okay. We're all here to learn from each other. We are going to visit up in Waco. We're going to visit the new Baylor Stadium. Don't know what week yet. We're going to visit here in Austin. We're going to go to a Longhorn game, or at least the tailgating. Being an Aggie fan, I'm not really that much desire to go inside Memorial Stadium, but I will in a pinch if I have to. But we certainly want to recognize the traditions, because obviously it is a history-rich university, and we just want to get out on the town. We want to talk about football. We want to talk about Bitcoin. But as I told you earlier, I got a soft spot in my heart for Texas A&M, and they play a pretty strong home schedule this year, so it's going to be a whole lot of fun to go up there and experience that. And we are going to be talking about cryptocurrencies with some folks who may or may not know that much about it right now. And that's okay. We want to find out what you do know. If you noticed what the title of this project is, it is called The Road to Adoption. Everywhere we go, whether it be a McDonald's, the fanciest eating place, there at the stadium, even the hot dog guy, we're going to offer to pay with Bitcoin. And I already know what the answer is, but that's okay. That'll be the running joke, right? We'll come back and check it in a couple of years. So in summary, we're going to do some football and some sporting stuff. We're going to experience nature, and we're going to talk with young women about traditions, football, and cryptocurrency. Now, some of you guys out there, you may be saying, hey, I like football. I like Bitcoin. Why aren't you talking to me? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, we kind of already know what's going on in your mind.
God must love us, gave us titties and beers. I said titties and beers. I thank God Almighty for titties and beers. There's two things that I love, and that's titties and beers.
Yeah, we already know what's on your mind, but also percentages tell us that whether we're talking about cryptocurrencies or we're talking about technology fields in general, that the percentage breakdown is sadly disproportionate. And we want to find out why. Plus, mine and Tyler's demographics are mainly young men, and hey, if we want to boost our ratings any, I can't think of a better way to do it than to have a pretty girl on the camera. And young ladies, just so that you know, my YouTube channel is not a monetized channel. Ain't nobody trying to make money off your pretty face. The other thing is, let me tell you what this video will not be about. Yeah, guys, this is not going to be an episode of Girls Gone Wild. There's a lot of places on the internet, and this ain't one of them. Also, young ladies, one thing I promise you I did not bring to town was any Mardi Gras beads. Ain't nobody going to offer you any beads to look under the hood at your girly curvies. Unless that's something that you're personally into, and then hey, DM me. But one of the things we are going to do is we're going to have some fun. I told you earlier I am not a monetized channel, but I am doing a promotional gig for my buddy Tyler of Chico Crypto. I've got some self-funded Chico Crypto swag. It is not available anywhere else because I'm the one that had it made. Collector's item, if you will. To include these t-shirts that Sky was wearing here for the opening credits. There's no guarantee that they will go up in value, but all the others have. Isn't that what that old commercial used to say? So some games of chance, if you will, for fun prizes.
Wheel of Fortune. Look at this studio filled with glamorous merchandise. Fabulous and exciting bonus prizes. Thousands of dollars in cash. Over $150,000 just waiting to be won as we present our big bonanza of cash on Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, so maybe Rain Man oversold it there a little bit, but we will have some fun. We'll learn some things from each other, and you will be more than compensated for your time and minimal effort. The whole thing is just have fun. Now, another thing I'm going to be doing here before the end of the baseball season is going down to Houston to go watch my Astros. Now, I've been an Astros fan since the late 60s, early 70s. Suffered through many a heartbreaking season during those times. They actually won their first world championship 2 years ago. And we're going to go down and check out the new stadium because last time I saw them was in the Dome. I've been back in Texas for 8 years, but I've not had the opportunity to go down and check out Minute Maid because, well, hey, I was a single dad, didn't have the time, didn't necessarily have the extra money, and, well, quite frankly, I didn't have the energy. Another thing that we're going to be doing down there is checking in on something that happened 2 years ago as well. We'll follow up on the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, see how the people are doing, see what's going on. Check out and see if some of my old haunts are still there or rebuilt. And then at least the first part of this project is going to end in Destin, Florida, my other hometown. Now, Tyler, this is on the complete opposite end of the state from where you were. This is up in the Panhandle. This is the Redneck Riviera. This is where people from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and all points south. This is their beach. Some of the most beautiful beaches you've ever seen. The water is a beautiful emerald green, and the sand, quite frankly, feels like sugar, and it squeaks when you walk on it. Some of the most beautiful sunsets are here, especially in October when we're going, just because the way that the earth is tilted by that time. And, you know, part of the year the sun sets out over the Gulf, and then the other part of the year the sun sets out over the bay. Beautiful, beautiful part of God's country here. But the main reason going during this time frame, even though it's during hurricane season, is because it's also time for the Destin Seafood Festival, which also goes along hand in hand with the Destin Fishing Rodeo, which is a month-long fishing contest every day. At sunset, they have the weigh-ins for what people caught that day, and you can see some really interesting stuff. The Seafood Festival usually has a band or entertainment that was typically pretty popular back X amount of years ago, and it's always a lot of fun as well. And it's free, but the food is great, the fun is real, and I got a lot of folks there that I can do some catching up with, and I'm looking forward to that as well. Now, for those of you in the Chico Army, which I believe 98.74% of my subscribers are the group within this group. If you're asking, okay, this sounds really cool, well, what can I do? Well, there's a couple of things you can do. Number one, I've already got one celebrity that I'm going to be doing a sit down with, and I believe it's going to be on camera. We're supposed to talk a little bit earlier this week, and I got some special people that are going to be featured guests when we visit their city. Now, this gentleman not only played football for Texas A&M back in the late 70s, early 80s, he also now is a professional motivational speaker based a lot on his life experiences, which include mountain climbing. Now, dude has already scaled the 7 summits, which is the highest mountain peak. I'm not sure of the terminology I'm supposed to use there, but the highest summit on each continent. And I don't want to blow that story, but I will tell you that he was halfway up Mount Everest a couple of years ago when that earthquake hit. And I look forward to hopefully him sharing his story and experiences from that with us on camera. But he's also going to help us go into some of the history of Aggie land as well. And also have some special visitors that are going to be helping us when we visit these other cities. But what can you do? Hey, a couple of things. Number one, if you comment on this video, let's keep it clean. We have invited several new young ladies to the area. Let's not scare them off with any kind of titty talk or anything like that, all right? Another thing that you can do is like and share this video. Help me get the word out there.
Hey, okay, and you on the motorcycle. You 2 girls. Tell your friends. Free parking. Free parking.
Can you please put this in the window later because it's real important?
What you gonna do anyway? You gonna sit right down and cry.
And it's ladies' night tonight at the Palace Hotel Bar.
So if you're sitting at home and you say, hey, I want to help, if you're a member of the Chico Army or a YouTube or Twitter subscriber who is not in the Chico Army, well, first of all, I say, hey, thanks, appreciate it. If you're not in the Chico Army and you say, yeah, this is one of those ETH scams or whatever, I would tell you, go into the Chico Telegram group and ask around about me if you don't know who I am. Odds are you already know who I am, but I think that you'll find that if this were a Western, I'm one of the guys wearing a white hat. I ain't looking to buy a yacht with any of these donations, guys. I just went into retirement about 4 weeks ago. I'm fine for anywhere between 3 months and a year, depending on how far I stretch my personal funds. As far as this project, my goal is to reach and talk to as many young ladies as we can. And that's good for you. That's good for us. However, I want quality over quantity. However, if we have more quantity, odds are we can find more quality. I'm going to be managing this very, very fiscally responsible as far as the swag that we give away and other operating expenses. But if you say, hey, I want to help, well, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Well, number one, you can donate your shit coins for the cause. However, IDEX has a minimum of 1.5 ETH on IDEX. There's no minimum on Coinbase Pro if that ERC20 token happens to be traded there. I'm going to post an ERC20 address in the comments below, but if you need a specific token address on Coinbase Pro, let me know in the comments or in a message, and I will post that address for deposits. Another way that you can help is by installing the Brave browser if you've not done so yet. It gives you basic attention tokens for pop-ups and advertising that you normally have to sit through for free on Google or other search engines. Plus, you get a free $10 worth of BAT with new registrations. I actually just got my first BAT donation the other day. However, it's anonymous, so whoever that was that donated the $10 to the channel, I certainly appreciate it. Now, does it work? Well, hell yeah, it works. Let me show you something. Now, when I was searching on Google the other day for natural sites for Sky and I to take in the area, I went to this website and was attacked by pop-ups and this and that, you know, the little ads that pop up and start playing videos in the corner while you're trying to look through the page. And then when you clear that out, you know, another 5 pop up. They're like gray hair. So every now and then when I run into sites like that, because there are some limitations of the browser itself, but when it's a site that I want to see, but I'm getting bombarded, I always just copy the link and I go over to the Brave browser, and I'll plug it in there. Now watch this. Not one pop-up. Not one pop-up. Not one little side ad over here. Not one little video that comes in and starts to play that you constantly have to run to and fro to delete. The shit works, man. Shit works. And if you're new to crypto, and if you were not already aware of this, go download the Brave browser. You will totally dig it. You will totally dig it. It works. I'm going to be posting some Bitcoin and ETH addresses down below if you're able to donate, or if you're wanting to donate, either now or after you check out a couple of videos. And if you say to yourself, hey, let me see what really goes on. Let me see how this all works out and everything. And that's cool. I totally get it. If you want to make a small Bitcoin or Ethereum donation, donate to the address that I have down below, and it'll be much appreciated. I'm going to be printing up some paper wallets with Bitcoin and ETH in them to give out as prizes, and a step towards adoption as we go and talk to all these young ladies all over the place. And any little bit would be appreciated, because 10 dimes make $1. However, another way that you can donate, which would be pretty cool, is buy one of these shirts. Buy one of these shirts. I'm going to be checking with UPS today on what shipping cost here would be domestically and abroad, and I'll post the details on what the price would be. But these are pretty freaking cool shirts. I had them done here locally with the local business instead of giving my business online to whoever knows what's going on. The ink itself is in the shirt, not on the shirt, so it won't be coming off after a couple of washes. This is not a decal. This is ink that is in the shirt. It'll be pretty cool there. And on the back as well, as we talk about the Bitcoin Awareness Platoon. Pimping Tyler's channel here. Little bitty pimp for me. And again, the name of the project is Road to Adoption. So anything that you are willing or able to give to the cause, regardless of how small, would be appreciated. And again, I'm going to be a good steward of this money. I ain't looking to retire or go to Jamaica. However, there is an off chance that Cleveland, Ohio will be added to the list, as my buddy just moved up there this last winter. And that's also where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, so that may be a place that we need to go and do some Bitcoin awarenessing up there, and do some babes, beer, and Bitcoin up there in the state of Ohio. I don't know. We're going to play that by ear and see what happens. Now, I told you I already have one celebrity book, and this is a Hail Mary, but I'm also going to ask for your help in this. Going to try like hell to help Tyler's channel, and again, understand that there's a 0.00005% chance that either one of these folks would even watch the video, much less respond in a positive manner, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. This is Miss Meltem Demirors and Kevin Smith, more popularly known as Silent Bob. Why these two? There's been a lot of things that I've read that Kevin Smith has either written or said during one of his Q&As that actually touched me in a very deep manner. And of the two, I think he's probably a better shot to at least participate in a podcast with me and Tyler. I mean, hell, the guy's done podcast on his favorite bowel movements of 2017 before, so why wouldn't he do a podcast on something like this? But again, understand, it's a very, 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 very small chance. But we're going to give it a shot anyway, because we already got no by not asking. So we're going to go ahead and ask. And for Miss Meltem Demirors, who testified in front of the Senate a couple of weeks ago. Now, Miss Demirors, I owe you an apology, even if you didn't see the video that I did before, where I mentioned you.
Meltem Demirors, and I am Chief Strategy Officer of CoinShare. Today I'd like to discuss cryptocurrencies, mainly Bitcoin, and Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network, Bitcoin. I thank you for your time and look forward to your questions.
Now, Ms. Demirors, I feel that I owe you an apology because I did about 10, maybe 15 minutes of research before I put out a video after your Senate testimony. And I wish I would have waited till I had done 16 to 20 minutes of research before I did that video because, well, while I did mention the fact that you were incredibly articulate and incredibly intelligent, before I ever mentioned how incredibly beautiful you were, I wish I would have done the research because I've now read many of your Medium articles and I've seen the interview you did with Andreas Antonopoulos, and all I can say is, wow, what an incredible mind at work. However, the apology I reckon I owe you is because, well, maybe having the Joe Cocker song from 9.5 Weeks playing in the background while I was talking about you, maybe that was a touch over the line, and so I do apologize for that. However, if the phrase that I did coin, the Bitcoin Bond Girl, if that caught on in your office and you like it, well, hey, that was all me. Now, if you hate that, well, hey, that was somebody else. Now, Chico Army, this is how you can help me. We're going to politely troll both Kev and Ms. Demirors. Obviously, you can see here that this is from a joke tweet that I made up here. But whenever we post one of these things, all I need you to do is to retweet and to keep mentioning them. Like, hey, great that you're going to be coming to Texas for the Babes Beer and Bitcoin session. Actually, the only thing I'm really after here is to hope that he would do a podcast. Love to talk to him about making movies. I certainly could use a fluffer, but would love to hear about how to possibly shoot these things better because this camera's brand new. And, well, the editing software that I have, I think they made a mistake and gave me the instructions for how to fly the space shuttle, and I ain't figured it out, so I'm still using this older video editing software, but would love to get inside that mind of yours on those kind of topics. Plus, obviously, would also love to talk to you about Bitcoin. So here you can see in this fake tweet here that Kevin, of all the available dates, has chosen the Alabama game, and that's good because ticket prices are already through the roof. Hotel rooms are also, and Kev, you've got a much bigger budget than I do, and if you did work, and if you did so decide to choose that date, well, we're going to call that one on you, my brother. Also with Ms. Demirors, she spoke in that interview with Andreas Antonopoulos, whose name I have an incredibly hard time with because he's got every letter in the alphabet in there 3 times. One of the things that she said when she was talking, she talked about hearts and minds, about how true adoption is going to take place. She said she actually said hearts and minds at least twice. The second time that she said it, it sounded like she was talking about her first love that she ever had back in grade school. And Ms. Demirors, I can't think of a better way to help reach hearts and minds than to reach out to some of these young ladies on the university, talk to them about Bitcoin, talk to them about opportunities in the tech fields, because I believe I read like 18% of the people that are in those fields are female, and I know you got an issue with that because basically you're, to quote you, and not to throw anything out there that might offend somebody, but basically to quote you, if you want more women in the workplace, then hire somebody with a vagina. So that's what I'm doing here, ma'am. I'm reaching out to you and I'm offering you a job. It doesn't pay shit. Actually, it's horrible. And again, it appears here that you chose the Auburn game, or maybe the same weekend as Kev. And again, the Auburn game, the prices of the available tickets are getting up there. So again, you make a hell of a lot more money than I do. So again, this one, you and your partner, y'all come down. Would love to meet you. Would love to see you in action, talking to youngins about Bitcoin in person. That would be awesome. Highly unlikely, I realize. but awesome nonetheless. I know that you're doing something in Chicago I saw on your website, and if I haven't heard from you in a tweet or an email by then, well, you will receive a package at that hotel you're speaking at, and it will have a shirt. I just need your shirt size. Love for you to come down. But Chico Army, what I need you to do is to help me politely troll these two incredible individuals to see if we can get them, at the very least, into a podcast with me and Tyler. That would make this whole thing worthwhile. And Miss Demirors, if you also notice, if you did not like the Bitcoin Bond Girl title that I coined, well, somebody else coined it, and I'll change it to this. Just let me know. So anyway, that's the mission. That's the plan. That's what we're going to be doing. If you're one of our regular listeners, watchers, subscribers, we certainly appreciate you coming in today. If you were one of the young ladies that I met today and invited to come take part in this, and you're wondering to yourself, is this something that I should do? Is this something in which I should participate? The answer is yes, absolutely. You got my email address. You got my cell phone number. Drop me a text. You got my email address. Drop me an email. You got my Twitter. Drop me a tweet. Probably a text would be the best, because I'm not going to be checking my phone all day today, because I'm going to be talking to a lot of other young ladies just like you, and hopefully getting to talk to them about where you go to school, traditions, football traditions, your view on things, and also talking to you about Bitcoin. So again, if you're wondering, is this something I should do? The answer is yes. Turn down the volume on this video and text me. But either way, I appreciate your time. Lots of love, hugs, and all that other shit. You guys take care.
Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling with the changes. Keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Ooh, you gotta keep on rolling. You gotta keep on rolling. Yeah. Everybody's got to keep on rolling with the changes. Oh yeah.